Hello, everyone, and welcome to Writing a Short Story, Part 2. This is Thomas, and we're here continuing our Untitled short story about the Princess Agatha and the witch Lady Perenna. Last time we worked on this outline over here. Don't mind the OBS recording over here, but here's our outline and our brainstorming session that we had. We went over this last video, so if you haven't seen this yet, I do recommend you go check that video. The link to it will be in the description below. But basically, this project is just us working on how to write a short story using the methods highlighted in our How to Story series. We're basically just working together to figure out how to make this story the best it can be, and I'm happy to have you guys along for this amazing journey. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start writing. I'm going to be using the outline I created. So basically, for you guys, when you're going to do this with your story, at this point, you're just going to take every sentence of your outline and you're going to try to extrapolate it a little bit as much as you can. Basically, for every sentence, you should get at least 3 to 5 sentences out of it. So almost a whole paragraph out of each sentence. And then with a little bit of dialogues thrown in there wherever you need it. If you watch the first part, you'll understand how that breaks down a little bit. I went over it a little bit there. I'm going to try to go over it in a few details. I am going to be posting this on my Wattpad account, and so I'm going to try to make sure that I don't give too many spoilers for the story, especially towards the ending. But if I come across something in the writing process that I think would be good for you guys to know, I'll just come back with random check-ins to let you guys know where I am in the story, what problems I have to encounter, and hopefully through watching this process happen, you guys will also learn a little bit about how to construct your own stories and how to create art in this medium right here. So I'll check back with you guys in a little bit. So actually, the first problem that I'm coming along with here is the beginning part. I'm trying to figure out what sentence would help start this story off. When you have your first sentence in your story, what you're looking for is a sentence that it'll basically pull the audience in. This isn't your 5-page essays from high school, okay? You don't have to have a sentence that is all encapsulating or a thesis statement or anything. This is a story, so you're going to be telling events in a certain order. So you're going to want to try to keep the audience engaged in the story and engaged in what you have to say. So for this first sentence, basically if you look back at the outline over here, the first sentence here goes, Perenna and Jeremy had been friends since childhood. And that really serves as exposition and as an explanation, but in order for me to really create a sentence that grabs the attention of the audience here, I'm going to have to figure out a few things. How do I explain the setting we're in? And because that's usually how I like to start my stories. I like to begin by explaining where we are and then kind of extrapolating and shifting over to the characters in the story. So even though Jeremy is the prince of this kingdom, I'm going to have to start this story off by mentioning Perenna, because there's a psychological thing that happens, because over the years, the first character that's mentioned is usually the main character. So when you don't mention that person as the first person, it can throw an audience off. So you can obviously break that rule whenever you want, but I always say before you break the rules, you should learn how to follow them first. So I'm going to start off with trying to find a way to mention Perenna first. And I think I'll start by talking about Talisdern. I want to start by talking about Talisdern, the kingdom they live in, but I don't know what to talk about it for. I know that it's supposed to be, it's supposed to have an autumn festival that is very well known, and that was something I decided on during the brainstorming process. So maybe I could go into that and talk about it. Maybe that's where we could start. Maybe we could start, because the idea is supposed to be that Perenna has a crush on Jeremy. Jeremy falls in love with Carabeth, and she finds out about it at the Autumn Festival, and that's when she decides to turn to witchcraft in order to try to find a way to make Jeremy feel affection towards her. So maybe it should start with the Autumn Festival, and we just go into the idea that see, that's the trouble you have to figure out, is you have to brainstorm these things for yourself. You have to figure out, I have to figure out if I want the audience to know right off the bat that Perenna and Jeremy are close. And if I do, there's going to have to be a lot of heavy dialogue to explain those things, because I feel like that's the most natural way to explain it. Just through their dialogue and the way they talk to each other, I would show the audience, and they would infer that they are friends and that they've known each other a while. But that's one of the challenges you just have to focus as a writer, and you have to figure out what works best for your story personally. Honestly, for my story, I feel like it might be better if we hold off on that for a while. I don't think I want to go straight into dialogue right away. I think I want to start with some simple narration and then work my way up to dialogue. Again, this story is not supposed to be more than 50 pages. And if I don't finish it within the next few days, I think I'm just going to finish it without filming and then just post the video. But that is one thing I will tell you guys. Don't set deadlines for yourself that are unreasonable. Okay, you yourselves, if you're just starting out with writing stories, maybe you're in high school and you're just getting into this, you don't want to set harsh deadlines for yourself. Okay, professionals can do it because they've done it a long time and they know how to deal with deadlines. They know what they can get done within a certain amount of time. A lot of people work at different paces, and if you're just starting with creative writing, then it's going to take you a while to work out your creative muscles. And so don't expect yourself to finish a whole story in just a week or two. Maybe it'll take you a month or 3 months, maybe a year. Nobody knows. Only you do. So don't take any shame in being a little bit late or not having a deadline. If you do want to set a deadline for yourself, you just got to be honest with yourself and set a deadline that you can work with. I know that I can get this story done in the next few days, especially if I put a lot of time towards it. I know this because I've written a lot in my life, and I know my pacing, and I know how my creative process works, and I know that if I need to take a break for a night or for a few hours, then I can do that and then just jump back to the story. That takes a while to form, and you guys might not be there yet, and that's totally okay. So just go at your own pace, set deadlines that you know you can reach, or don't set a deadline at all. No need to pressure yourself. So that would be my advice at this point. So just work your way through this part of the story. I'm going to come back to you guys when I have some more advice for you. So I've got my first paragraph done. One thing I did want to mention is that on our outline, we do have multiple parts. So if you look up here, we have the brainstorm section. We have the sentence section where we explain our story, the gist of it, in a sentence or two or three. But the idea was supposed to be that in your brainstorming session, this is where you would take this information and extrapolate it into your outline. So once you do this, the only piece you should be referencing really is your outline, because everything you put in your brainstorm should have ended up in your outline already. Hold on. So just make sure that you guys, when you do this, don't worry too much about your brainstorming stuff. If you followed the instructions from last episode, most of your brainstorming stuff should already be down here. You can always look back just to double check something, like the spelling of something or like a trait of a character. But for the most part, you're going to be pulling things from your outline itself. So don't stress too much about all of this stuff up here. Just focus on the stuff down here. All right? Now back to our story. Okay, everybody, so I finished the first little part of this. I have some of the stuff written over here. I ended up getting into a little bit of dialogue, and then I broke it off right here so that I could do a bit of a time jump. I haven't gotten too much done. I've only gotten 2 pages done so far, but that's okay. I've been working for a few hours already. But I'm really starting to get into a flow of everything, and I think I'm starting to understand the tone that the story's taking up. And I already know that I'm going to have to go back and extrapolate a few of these paragraphs because they're just, I'm not satisfied with the detail they go into. I feel like they need a little bit more detail. I'm giving myself a lot of leeway here. If you were only writing like a 5-page story, obviously you'd have to shorten a bunch of this. But again, I'm giving myself a limit of about 30 to 35 pages. So as long as I stay within that, which I'm doing pretty good with so far, I think I'll be fine. Everything here so far has been smooth sailing as far as coming up with ideas for how to go ahead with everything. One thing I did decide to not do, I keep going back to fix it, is I'm not having any contractions in the narration. The characters can use contractions because that's how we talk, and I think it's more natural. But once I get to like the narration, I'm trying to make sure that I don't use too many contractions because contractions tend to, they don't seem as professional, but honestly, it's up to you and your style and how you want to do it. The style I'm going for is more like old-timey and official because I am telling a medieval kind of / Renaissance-y kind of story, like an old type story, fairy tale-like. So for me, keeping it simple like that, keeping it more official sounding, more, I guess, posh in a way, That helps me out with getting in that mindset and getting the tone right. So for me, I think that that's what I'm going to do going forward. So just wanted to cut in and say those few things. And I'm moving on now to the next part of the story, doing a little time jump. And I'm coming over now to the second paragraph, basically, of this outline. And so that's how it's going. So I'm still in Act 1, the exposition stage. And, some people might think that 3 pages of exposition is a lot. There's probably actually going to end up being more. But again, it's all about proportions with your story. If my story is going to end up being 30 to 35 pages, or somewhere around there, or it might even be less, like 20 or 25. But no matter what, if I could keep all of the exposition within 3 to 4 pages, then that should be plenty small enough for the rest of the story. I don't think I'll go too far into anything. But, that seems to be where we're going with all of this. So, I'll catch up with you guys in a little bit. All right, guys, so I've been working on this for a few hours now, and it's getting late, so I'm going to go ahead and go to bed. I'm going to come back tomorrow morning, and I'm going to continue with this, and I'll keep recording again if I feel like there's something I need to share with you guys about any of it. But, it's going good so far. I'm still on page 3. I've been spending a lot of time really trying to work with everything, make sure everything's good. You guys don't have to stress out too much, like, during the actual writing process as I do. I'm just weird like that, but, you have as many opportunities as you want to give yourself to read through the whole thing and fix things as you read it. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up doing that anyways. So, you guys don't need to, like, panic too much about it. But, just wanted to say that real quick. I'm going to go ahead and go to bed, and I'll come back tomorrow to keep doing this. What's up, guys? We're back. So I'm about 22 pages into the story. I'm doing pretty good as far as pacing and ordering all the things that are in the outline and making sure that I'm on the right pages for what I want to do and all that. I just wanted to come in real quick to say that I've been working at this for about 2 days now. Sorry for my dog barking in the background. There's not really a way I could stop him from doing that. But I haven't really come upon any snags, thankfully, and that's mostly because I have my outline right here to help me keep track of where I am in the story and where everything's supposed to go. Again, I'm just taking every few sentences and extrapolating them, expanding on them as much as I can. This story is probably dragging on a bit long, though. I'm hoping to end it by page 35, but it might go into the 40s if I'm not careful. So right now, that's the only goal that I'm keeping with. When you guys write your stories, just make sure that you're trying to do the same thing. And I think it is Friday, and today's the day I was supposed to upload this, so it probably won't get uploaded on Friday. But it'll definitely go up on either Saturday or Sunday, depending on which day that is. I'll just let you guys know. So this is the rough draft stage, and after this, I'm going to be sending it to a few people that I know, friends of mine, people in my age group, people that know how to write, people that I think will give me constructive criticism rather than just, like, shitting on my whole life. When you guys send your rough drafts off, I know it can be scary. I know it can feel hard to get criticism, but the more criticism you get, the less criticisms you'll have in the future. You got to learn. It's a learning curve. You got to figure out what works for you, and make sure you're talking to people that you trust who will give you honest opinions. Next week, I'm going to show you guys the process of having your story edited, or it'll either be next week or the week after, whatever. The next video in this series basically is going to just be me showing you guys how to throw your story around, how to take the constructive criticism you receive, and then work with it. And then hopefully by the time the next video comes out, this story will be up on Wattpad for you guys to read. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.